Dream of the Red Chamber, Chapter 22.
So today we're stepping inside what might just be the most politically charged social event in all of classical literature, a birthday party.
Right. And we're not just talking about cake and gifts.
Not at all. We often discuss power and wealth on this show, but here those forces are, hidden. They're behind polite smiles and very, very carefully chosen words.
Exactly. The event is Zhuo Baichai's 15th birthday.
And what's so brilliant about this novel is how it uses this one, seemingly small, private gathering to show you everything. It's a complete microcosm of the Jia household's very complex social and emotional world. How a single party can reveal deep character motivations, political positioning.
So we've pulled the key sources. They covered the financial planning, the theatrical performances, a really crucial philosophical poem, and the intense, almost heartbreaking fallout between two central figures, Baoyu and Shi Shengyun.
In the world of the Jia family, every shared glance, every joke, and every single lyric is a strategic move.
It really is.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before a single song is even sung, the real drama kicks off with the most practical concern of all, the budget. So the planning starts with the compound's chief administrators, Jia Lian and Feng Ji, and they're figuring out the logistics for Baochai's party. She's turning 15. And the source notes this isn't just any old year. It's called Zhangji Zinian.
And that phrase, Zhangji Zinian, it literally means the year of preparing for the hairpin.
Okay.
For an unmarried young woman like Baochai, it marks this really pivotal transition from girlhood into, marriageable adulthood. It's not a huge birthday like a 60th or something, but it's deeply, deeply significant culturally.
And right away, they hit their first political hurdle, setting the standard. Jia Lian immediately suggests they just follow the precedent set by Lin Daiyu's previous birthdays.
Which is such a fascinating detail because it instantly establishes Daiyu, the emotional, literary one, as the official baseline for favor and expense.
Right, so they can't make Baochai look less important than Daiyu.
Exactly. Even though Baochai is technically just a guest, a relative, while Daiyu is practically an adopted daughter of the house, the politics are there from line one.
But the whole dynamic shifts when grandmother Jia Mu, steps in. She decides to personally sponsor the whole event. Why does she do that? Why take over?
It's a huge power move. And the sources tell us it's because she is especially fond of Baochai's Wenzhonghe, pinging her stability and peacefulness.
Ah, she's the calm.
She's the calm one. Jia Mu is old. She's tired of drama. Daiyu, with all her intense emotional sensitivity, is exhausting. Baochai offers this calm, mature companionship, and Jia Mu rewards that specific emotional labor with her most powerful tool, direct, visible sponsorship.
So Jia Mu sets the standard, but the amount she allocates, that becomes the flashpoint. She gives them 20 taels, air shilling, which, in a house this wealthy it's kind of laughable.
The 20 taels is the core of the whole financial tension. It forces the question, is she being cheap, or is she offering a sort of testing budget, knowing someone is going to challenge it?
And that someone is Feng Ji.
Of course. This is where Feng Ji, who manages all the money, steps in to challenge authority using her signature weapon, wit. She uses humor to criticize the matriarch directly.
To her face.
To her face. She jokes that the matriarch is skimping on them. She complains that Jia Mu's gold and silver are so abundant they have crushed the bottom of the chest, but she still only pulls out this mildewed 20 taels.
Mildewed 20 taels. I mean, that's such a brilliant, biting piece of satire.
It's perfect. And Jia Mu's reaction is what really solidifies Feng Ji's unique social power. She is utterly delighted by the cheek. She calls Engji a monkey who even her own mother-in-law dares not contradict.
But wait, is she genuinely delighted? Or is she just acknowledging Feng Ji's power play without intervening? I mean, is this negotiation or is it performance?
That's the subtlety, isn't it? It's both. Jia Mu is delighted that Feng Ji is bold enough to perform the negotiation in public.
Ah, okay.
It reinforces the fact that the two of them, the oldest and the sharpest, are the real power centers. Feng Ji knows she can complain and get away with it because she's essential. By laughing, Jia Mu gives Feng Ji the space to execute the party flawlessly, cementing her own status as the indispensable administrator.
So the budget drama is settled, the financial positioning is clear, and the party moves to the stage. It's held in a very small, private setting inside Jia Mu's courtyard, which must make the social atmosphere even more intense.
The intimacy is key. The source specifies that the only people counted as actual outside guests are Aunt Su, Shi Zhangyun, and Baochai herself.
And everyone else is Zishuan.
Exactly, family. Which means the drama is internal, unobserved by the outside world, and so the stakes are that much higher.
And the centerpiece of this drama is the performance, specifically the ritual of choosing the plays. Dinji. You can think of it as a subtle indicator of favor, like getting to pick the music at a state dinner or something.
A perfect analogy. Who gets the first choice? Well, Jiamu insists Bao Chai, the birthday girl, must choose first. And Bao Chai, again showing her political smarts, selects a scene from Journey to the West.
Why that? Why not something more, highbrow or scholarly?
Because she knows her audience.
Mm-hmm.
Jiamu is an older woman. She prefers lively, sweet entertainment, not the sorrowful literary drama that Dayu might pick.
So Bao Chai's choice is a perfect deferential nod to the matriarch.
It says, my taste aligns with yours, grandmother. It secures that initial burst of favor. It's brilliant.
And Feng Ji, she understands the mood, so she follows with Liu or Dang Yi, which is a farce, a comedy.
Right, it appeals directly to Jiamu's love for boisterous humor, Zhu Qiaoqimian. It keeps the party atmosphere light and fun.
So the contrast is important because then we see where Dayu fits in.
Exactly. She's only prompted to choose after these first two major choices are made. But the ultimate indicator of status is what Jiamu says to the older, higher-ranking relatives, like Wang Furen, who might have wanted to turn.
She just dismisses them.
Brutally. Jiamu says they are already cheaply hearing and eating, and so they don't get to choose.
Cheaply hearing and eating, that phrase is devastating. It just strips away any pretense of politeness.
It does. It says they're already getting a free meal and free entertainment, and that's enough for their station. It establishes a very clear hierarchy for you, the listener. Dayu is favored. She's above the standard family. But in this specific moment, Bao Chai holds the primary favor.
Dayu may be emotionally closer to Baoyu, but Bao Chai is politically closer to Jiamu.
Precisely.
So let's move to the second theatrical choice during the banquet, because this is where the chapter hits its philosophical peak right before the social disaster. Bao Chai selects Lu Zhishen drunkenly wreaking havoc on Mount Wutai.
And we immediately see the contrast with Baoyu. He expresses this immediate disdain, saying he always fears this kind of bustle. That's classic Baoyu, rejecting the noise of the world for, quiet introspection.
But Bao Chai, who is so incredibly sharp, she actually scolds him. She argues he knows nothing of good drama and is missing the deep philosophical point hidden in the lyrics.
This is the moment Bao Chai fully reveals her intellectual depth. She's not just beautiful, she's incredibly well-read. She focuses on a set of northern tunes, specifically the song Ji Sheng Ken, and recites these famous lyrics about Buddhist detachment and wandering.
What's the core message that hooks Baoyu?
It's the central line she recites. Born without ties, coming and going without attachment. That's Ji Qiao Tio Lai Ku Qinghua. This is the philosophy of the wandering monk, the idea of complete spiritual freedom, shedding all worldly burdens, all attachments.
And Baoyu is obsessed with this idea of escaping his gilded cage.
Absolutely obsessed. He is thrilled by it. He hits his knee. He praises Bao Chai's knowledge. He feels this sudden, profound intellectual connection with her. He thinks she understands his lifelong desire to escape.
But that intellectual high is just violently interrupted by Lin Dayu.
She cuts the moment completely short. She tells Baoyu to watch the play, noting that the opera scene, Shanmen, hasn't even started, yet he's already faking madness, Shangfeng.
That jab is just pure tactical jealousy.
Delivered with extreme precision. She's not just telling him to be quiet, she's drawing attention to his emotional instability, his reputation for being overly dramatic. She just punctures that profound connection he shared with Bao Chai.
And then comes the final catastrophic mistake. Jiamu calls in two young child actors. Feng Ji says one resembles someone, and both Bao Chai and Baoyu see it, but they wisely stay silent. They know the danger.
They know the danger. The resemblance is striking, but to comment on it would be the height of tactlessness, because it compares the beloved Lin Dayu to a low-status opera performer. They bite their tongues.
But she's Xiang Yunpo, honest, tactless Xiang Yun. She just blurts it out.
She says exactly what everyone is thinking, that the actor resembles Sister Lin's appearance.
Lin Mei younger.
And Baoyu's reaction shows the danger. He quickly gives her this sharp, silent warning glance, trying to shut her up. But it's too late. The words are out. Everyone laughs, confirming the accurate but utterly disastrous comparison. Sheng Yin has committed a serious social blunder.
And that blunder, though it was completely innocent, leads directly to the most painful and revealing exchange later that evening. She's furious. She decides to leave, and she says, seeing people's noses and eyes, what meaning is there?
She feels judged, humiliated, exposed by Baoyu's warning glance. She interprets his look not as protection, but as a public correction, making her feel even more like an outsider.
And Baoyu, he's distraught. He rushes to confront her, insisting his motive was purely protective. He explains he only gave her a look because Dayu is sensitive, Duxian.
Right. He argues everyone else kept silent, precisely because they feared angering Dayu. He was trying to save Xiang Yun from that very trouble.
But she rejects his explanation entirely. She accuses him of using flowery language. And this is the breaking point. This is where her deep-seated insecurity about her own status just bursts into the open.
It really is.
This is the most crucial part of the chapter. She rejects his comfort by saying she is originally not as good as your sister Lin.
And then she delivers the truly agonizing distinction, one that Baoyu, shielded by his immense privilege, just doesn't register. She draws the line. She is a young mistress. I am a maid-slave girl. That
is just heartbreaking. Xiang Yun is a relative, but the financial reality is she lives there by the grace of the Jia family, so she sees herself through this lens of servitude.
That phrase, nukayatu, maid-slave girl, it's a shocking self-designation for a girl of her birth. She believes that because she lacks Dayu's status, she doesn't get the same room for error. Her entire worth is tied up in avoiding offense.
And Baoyu, realizing the depth of her pain, he immediately resorts to his typical move, a dramatic, reckless oath.
Of course he does. He swears that if he had any ulterior motive, he would instantly turn to ash and be trampled by 10,000 people.
It's the highest form of loyalty he can offer, but...
But Xiang Yun is too bitter. She's not swayed by his theatrics. She utterly rejects his oath, calling them senseless, wicked vows, Miao Jian Dei Shi. She knows these dramatic pronouncements don't change the reality of their social positions.
And she leaves him with one final crushing observation.
She tells him that such overly dramatic oaths are only necessary for those with small minds who easily get angry, who are good at controlling you.
A crystal clear dig at Dayu.
A huge one. She essentially tells him his loyalty should be reserved for those who deserve it. And she storms off, leaving Baoyu, the ultimate romantic, completely shattered by the reality of social stratification. Baoyu goes to find Dayu, and she is just absolutely livid. He gets to her door, and she just pushes it shut, right in his face. And he's just standing outside, swallowing his pride, whispering pleas of Ixno Mei Mei or good sister.
But she won't open up, just ignores him.
This cold shoulder is really the first blow that launches his whole inner retreat.
Eventually, she does open the door. Maybe she thinks he's gone, only to find him still standing there. Motionless. She's too embarrassed to shut it again, so he walks in and demands to know what's wrong.
And she just hits him with this cutting accusation. She says she's tired of being used for sport, sarcastically claiming she was only brought to the manor to be made a joke of. And then comes the low blow. She compares herself to an actress. A zing.
And that is pure Dayu. She's deflecting her own vulnerability with this incredibly sharp, self-deprecating insult that's aimed right at his heart. But then she immediately gets to the real wound.
Right.
She's furious about Baoyu giving meaningful glances to the other cousin, Xiang Yun, but she doesn't accuse him of flirting. No, it's much worse.
She accuses him of condescension.
Exactly.
And her interpretation of his motive is just. It's the truly devastating part. She believes Baoyu was trying to protect Xiang Yun, who she points out is Gungu's daughter, by society, from degrading herself by arguing with Dayu, who she bitterly calls a mere poor person's maid.
It's an incredible mind game. She has taken his attempt to make peace and just twisted it into this indictment of her social standing, proving, in her own mind at least, that he sees her as beneath his other companions, and then she delivers the final blow.
Which is?
She points out that his well-intentioned protection failed anyway. Xiang Yun didn't accept his kindness either. She's still angry too.
So he realizes his whole attempt at mediation has completely backfired. He's gotten Luai Ling Chu the Bikembang criticism from both sides.
He's caught in a total double bind. There's no way he can satisfy either woman.
Yeah.
And that moment is really the crystallization of his frustration with the world. I mean, his best efforts to be kind, to be skillful, they've produced nothing but pain. So he stands there defeated and just turns and walks away. Doesn't even try to defend himself.
And that profound social failure, that feeling of being completely misunderstood, it drives him right to the books. He feels utterly wuku or uninterested in everything, and he just seeks the ultimate intellectual escape hatch.
Yeah.
But hold on a minute. I mean, we know Baoyu is this incredibly sensitive guy. He's devoted to these women. Is it possible this philosophical turn isn't really enlightenment, but just monumental male ego? He can't win the argument, so he decides to transcend it.
That is exactly the tension the author wants us to feel.
Okay.
It's an intellectual tantrum. He immediately connects his emotional state, not to, introspection, but to the text he's been studying, specifically the Nanhua Jing, which is another name for the Taoist classic, the Zhuangzi. He's jumping straight from emotional failure to philosophical detachment.
And the lines he remembers perfectly capture his despair. The first quote from the Zhuangzi is, "The skillful are tired, the wise are anxious. The incapable seek nothing, eat their fill and wander, floating like an unmoored boat."
So he identifies with the anxious, skillful one, the one who tried to fix everything and only made it worse. And the appeal of the unmoored boat, a life with no attachments, no social maneuvering, it's just overwhelmingly attractive to him in that moment.
It's the ultimate fantasy of non-accountability.
It really is. And the second quote is even more self-pitying. It suggests his very existence is the problem. The mountain trees invite their own cutting. The spring waters invite their own theft.
So he feels like his own goodness, like beautiful wood or clear water, just naturally attracts trouble. It invites people like Baoyu to cut him down.
Right. He realizes if he can't even handle two people, what hope does he have? So that's his first retreat. It's a Taoist yearning for freedom, but then he takes it a step further.
He does. He moves from that Taoist idea of floating to the Zen idea of seeking proof. He has this conversation with his maid, Jiren, and he dramatically declares, "They have everyone together, but I am coming and going completely unattached."
And then he breaks down crying. But immediately, while he's still all worked up, he writes his spiritual breakthrough, a 4-line Gatha Zen poem and a Jishin Kao lyric.
The transition is amazing, from total despair to literary creation in a heartbeat.
This isn't calm contemplation, it's a theatrical declaration of independence. The Gatha is his attempt to sort of formalize his understanding of emptiness.
And he ends it with the line, "When nothing can be called proof, this is the standing ground."
He's arguing that absolute truth exists beyond any need for worldly verification. It's his way of rejecting the very justification that Baoyu had demanded from him just minutes earlier.
And if the Gath is the intellectual proof, the lyric is the raw emotion.
Yes, the Jishenka lyric. It's this expression of newfound, almost nihilistic freedom.
And the key line from that lyric is the one where he just dismisses everything he's ever done. Why the past, busy striving, looking back now, it is truly meaningless.
He resolves to act recklessly without hindrance, allowing coming and going. He's done with it all.
He genuinely believes he has achieved detachment. He's so satisfied with his lack of attachment, his goai, that the text says he immediately falls into a deep sleep.
Problem solved. He's just elevated himself out of existence.
Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate reckoning. The philosophical smackdown delivered by the women. Baoyu, ever curious, sneaks in, sees he's asleep, and Shirin shows her what he wrote.
And at first, Baoyu just dismisses them as 1 year, playful things of no great consequence, but she takes them. And she shares them with Xingyun and then with Bao Chai.
And Bao Chai is immediately alarmed. Not philosophically, but practically.
Exactly.
Good.
She sees the real danger here. This talk of Zendao Shuchanja is a threat to his status. She correctly sees that this kind of thinking can change character and pull him away from his family duties.
She is so pragmatic. She sees this not as harmless navel-gazing, but as a direct threat to the family's stability.
So she tears up the writings, tells her maid to burn them. She wants the evidence destroyed.
But before they're burned, Baoyu decides to use them to drag his ego right back to earth. She hits him with critique number 1, the name challenge. She uses his own identity against his newfound tyranny.
It's a spectacular move.
She asks him directly, "The most noble thing is Bao, meaning precious. The most solid is you, meaning jade. What nobility do you possess? What solidity do you possess?"
And he's just speechless. He can't answer.
Nothing.
He realizes he's neither noble nor solid in that moment. It just proves his whole transcendence thing is a paper-thin facade.
But Baoyu isn't finished. She moves on to critique number 2, the Zen revision.
Right. She says his Gatha's final line, "This is the standing ground," is a decent effort, but it's way Jinshan, not completely perfect.
And then she corrects it with a truly superior Zen phrase.
Without a standing ground, that is truly clean pure.
Wow.
And that one shift from having a standing ground to not having one, that's the whole leap. It's the difference between theorizing about detachment and actually achieving it.
And Bao Chai, who is always the scholar in the room, immediately validates Baoyu's phrase with critique number 3. pure historical context.
She confirms Daiyu's version is the superior insight, calling it truly clean pure, and then she provides the definitive scholarly backup, putting Baoyu's little attempt in its proper place in Zen history.
She brings up the famous story of the sixth patriarch, Huineng.
She references the verse from the senior monk, Shenxi, the one that says, "The body is the Bodhi tree. Dust them diligently." It's a version of enlightenment that still requires effort.
Right.
And then she quotes Huineng's famous revolutionary reply, the one that demands absolute emptiness. Bodhi is fundamentally not a tree. The mirror is also not a stand. Since there is fundamentally nothing, where can dust adhere?
That is the intellectual climax of the whole scene.
It is, because Baochai explicitly says that Baoyu's original poem was Tong Klinyi, the same intention as Shenxi's the good but ultimately inferior attempt. She understood that his philosophical effort was still rooted in the ego of striving.
While Daiyu's revision, validated by Huineng's legacy, demanded true, revolutionary non-existence.
He is utterly defeated.
He realizes that Daiyu and Baochai had superior knowledge, superior understanding, that their perception was ahead of his.
He immediately agrees to stop talking about Zen. He dismisses his grand epiphany as just playing around.
It's a total concession.
Yeah.
Intellectually and social.
And the whole philosophical thread is just severed. He isn't gently guided back to the world. He is yanked back.
Abruptly. The four of them are interrupted by a eunuch sent by the Empress, the highest authority in their world.
He's carrying a special white gauze lantern designed for riddles, a den mirror.
This is the mandatory return to social reality. The Empress has sent a riddle and has commanded everyone to create their own in return.
So philosophical freedom is instantly replaced by royal obligation, by court performance.
And the source says that all of them, all the major characters, they figure out the Empress's riddle immediately. But they all pretend it's difficult. And they get back to their social roles, writing their own riddles for the court. The initial imperial connection that really sets the tone for everything.
Yes. The whole thing kicks off with the results from Empress Yuan Shun's riddle game, which was all handled remotely by a eunuch messenger.
So that imperial link just immediately raises the stakes.
Oh, completely. This isn't just, your aunt guessing a riddle at a party. This is a direct verdict from the highest power, and it's all mediated by the palace bureaucracy.
So the eunuch comes back, and he relays the verdict.
And the verdict is, the Empress guessed all the riddles submitted, except for two of them, those from the second Miss, Ying Chun, and the third master, Jia Huan.
And the rewards are swift. They're very clear, and they confirm the hierarchy, right?
Exactly. The winners get these highly desirable gifts, palace-made poem tubes and key whisks, but Ying Chun and Jia Huan get nothing. You can already feel that division being drawn.
And the text really emphasizes the contrast in how they react to this.
It does. Ying Chun, who's known for being so quiet and passive, she just kind of dismisses it as a small joke. She doesn't mind the public slight.
But Jia
Huan is different. He's the marginalized son, always feeling overlooked, and the text says he's clearly displeased. This is a huge red flag right from the start.
And his failure is really underscored, isn't it? Because his riddle was brought back specifically because the Empress herself deemed it unintelligible.
Unintelligible. It's not just failure. It's a public judgment of inadequacy.
Yeah.
It says so much about his character and really his future. I mean, this family is defined by its ability to engage in refined, elegant art.
And Jia Huan's riddle, which the whole family reads and just bursts out laughing at, is so literal and clumsy.
Oh, completely. The quote is, "Big brother has 8 corners, second brother has 2 horns. Big brother only sits on the bed, second brother loves to squat on the roof."
A pillow and a beast head roof ornament.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a riddle technically, but it lacks any of that philosophical depth.
Exactly. It's so basic, just focused on the object's function. And that immediately signals that he just doesn't have the refined talent to thrive in this household. He's the first social failure of the evening, and it just reinforces his status as an outsider.
Okay, so once the tension from that imperial verdict starts to fade, the focus shifts to the matriarch, Jia Mu, the grandmother.
Right, she's in high spirits, and she decides, okay, let's have a new, more intimate round of riddles. And she uses this newly crafted, exquisite folding screen lamp.
But intimate is a relative term here.
Oh, for sure. The scene is still defined by these meticulous seating arrangements that tell you everything about the power structure.
You've got Jia Mu at the main table with a stern patriarch, Jia Zheng, and the favorite grandson, Baoyu.
Then the other tables are arranged by rank. You have Wing Firen, Baochai, Dayu, and Shanyun at one, the younger sisters at another. It's a perfect microcosm of the household.
But the atmosphere, which was starting to feel light, it just takes a dramatic turn because the father, Jiazeng, decides he wants to participate.
And he enters wanting to carry favor and find joy, but his presence is like slamming a door shut on happiness. It's an immediate chilling shift.
For anyone who doesn't know these characters, Jiazeng is the embodiment of Confucian austerity. He is the rules.
Exactly. He represents this rigid social and moral order, and his presence is just fundamentally oppressive to his children, especially Baoyu, who is all about emotional freedom.
And you see that change instantly in the kids' behavior. Baoyu, who's normally so talkative and witty,
is suddenly reduced to just saying yes, yes, when his father talks to him.
And what about Xiangyun?
Shanyun, who's famous for being chatty and lively, is instantly silenced and prohibited from speaking. The text specifically says the whole group feels constrained and unhappy.
That's the power of that formality. The moment the moral enforcer enters the room, authentic joy just vanishes. It's replaced by this forced difference.
We even get that little moment of dark humor with Jialan, the young nephew, who at first refuses to come in because his father hadn't specifically called for him.
And they all chuckle and call him a born, bull-hearted eccentric.
But his eccentricity is just him following the rules to the letter. It shows how rigid everything is.
So Jiamu, the grandmother, she sees all this. She sees the fun draining away.
She does. And she realizes she has to intervene strategically to save the party. She decides to engage Jiazeng directly, hoping to give him some attention so he'll eventually leave.
It's a brilliant tactical move disguised as a game.
She starts with her own riddle. It's beautiful and concise. A monkey is light of body standing on the treetop. A fruit name.
Jiazeng knows the answer immediately. It's a lychee.
Of course. But this is where the formality is so interesting. To show deference to his mother, he deliberately guessed other things. He lets himself be penalized a few times before giving the right answer.
It's a performance of obedience. And then he offers his own riddle back to her.
Body is upright and solid. Though it cannot speak, when it speaks it must be answered, a utensil.
And he creates this little manufactured moment of closeness, right? He whispers the answer to Baoyu, who then whispers it to Jiamu.
Exactly. A brief artificial bonding moment. The answer is an inkstone, yantai, which is a perfect symbol for Jiazeng's world of scholarship and bureaucracy. He gets his gifts, and he's distracted.
Before he can leave, Jiazeng is asked to guess the riddles the young sisters have posted on the screen lamp.
And this is the pivot, because these are not celebratory riddles. They are terrifying, profound omens of the family's doom.
The text forces us to stop seeing these as just games.
It does. The tension just skyrockets because Jiazeng isn't analyzing them for their wit. He's analyzing them as reflections of his daughter's inner lives and, worse, their unavoidable fates. The father is suddenly confronted with the subconscious truth of his own children.
Okay, let's go through them. The contrast between the object and the meaning is just chilling. First up is the imperial daughter, Yuan Xin. Her object is a firecracker.
And Jiazeng's analysis is immediate and grim. He sees it as a thing that scatters after one sound.
Wow.
This is massive foreshadowing. Yanchun's importance, the family's entire fortune, it's all based on her imperial favor. That firecracker is the sudden, spectacular burst of temporary glory that's destined to just scatter into nothing after one short moment.
So the whole family's fortune is fragile.
Exactly. Next, you have Yingchun's riddle. The object is an abacus.
The swan pan.
What's so terrifying here is he interprets the clicking beads as stirring up trouble like tangled hemp. It connects directly to her fate. She's the daughter who gets married off as a pawn to cover family debts. She gets trapped in this horrible financial and domestic mess that leads to her ruin.
She becomes a victim of the family's disorder.
Precisely. Then we get to Tanshun. Her riddle is a kite.
A fengjing.
He sees it as a floating, drifting thing, and this signals instability, separation. Tanshun is smart and capable, but she's fated to be married off far away, basically severing all her roots. The kite is beautiful, but it's untethered, a symbol of rootlessness.
And finally, there's Yichun. Her riddle is the sea lamp.
The hiding. And this one is just pure tragedy born of purity. Jiazeng sees it as pure and isolated solitude.
Which predicts her destiny.
It predicts her becoming a Buddhist nun. It's not just loneliness, it's a deliberate self-isolation from a world, a household that's too corrupt for her pure nature to survive in.
So this sequence just shatters Jiazeng. He's looking at his daughter's riddles, and he actually asks himself, It is the Lantern Festival. How is it that they are all making sport of these inauspicious things?
That's his moment of truth. All the structure and formality he imposes mean nothing if the foundation of his family is already crumbling. And the evidence is right there, written by his own children.
But there's one more piece, one final piece of art to guess.
Right, Bao Chai's entry. And hers isn't a short riddle, it's a full 7-character lunchi, a very formal, regulated poem. The form itself elevates the gravity of it.
The poem has these lines like, scorched head, day after day, yet year after year, and light and time rapidly fly by, one must cherish them. It's less festive and more about endurance through suffering.
And Jia Zheng finds this poem even more inauspicious, especially coming from someone so young. His fear becomes existential. He starts to believe that they, the brilliant young women who are the future of his lineage, are not destined for eternal blessing and longevity.
He's not just sad for them, he's terrified for the collapse of his whole world.
The text says his spirit is reduced by 80–90%. He is physically and emotionally devastated.
And Jiamu sees this. She sees how troubled he is, and maybe she also notices the room has gone quiet again.
Yes, and she quickly urges him to stop guessing and go rest. He just agrees with this defeated stream of yes and retires to his room where he's just consumed by sorrow and can't sleep.
And as soon as that door closes behind him,
the atmosphere just completely shifts. It's like a pressure valve is released.
You see it immediately in Baoyu, the main victim of all that repression.
He runs right back to the screen lamp and starts loudly criticizing everyone's riddles. The text uses that amazing phrase, he's like a monkey with an open lock.
He's free. He's loud and critical again.
Exactly. Authentic life has returned. And then even Wang Qifeng, Fengji, comes out from the inner room and jokes that Baoyu should be forced to stay with his father every single day.
That little bit of witty banter just confirms how much tension had been building and how quickly it dissolved.
It's a perfect literary device, really. It shows the contrast between the external structure imposed by Jia Zheng and the internal truth of it all. The tragic truths in the riddles and, the youthful energy that he was suppressing.
So what we really have here is this beautiful, tragic encapsulation of the whole novel's central conflict. A joyful family ritual being used as a crucible for unavoidable tragedy.
That's it. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, the text is using the precision of poetry, of riddles, to show that these characters' fates aren't random. They're already woven into the fabric of the household's decline. Their own art predicts their downfall.
And the constraint provided by Jia Zheng, the one who embodies all those rigid social structures, is actually what forces those darker existential truths into the subtext, into the background where only someone who is really observant or really worried, like Jia Zheng himself, can see them.